Well, so we've collected data as far as mostly MCAS data throughout the years. And the calculus project had a huge impact on raising those scores over a 4-year time period. But additionally, it impacted their achievement because, or in a way that we have more students of color enrolled in our honors and AP classes than ever before. The fact that we've grouped them in cohorts and we've placed them together as cohorts in classes, they have each other to work with in class and out of school. They support each other. And that's really not just changed test scores and students in the classes, but it's also changed how they look at themselves as scholars, as students of math. When I first started teaching the cohort when they were 9th graders, they certainly didn't think of themselves as mathematicians or scholars in general. And the calculus project really helped them internalize that they are scholars and they are mathematicians, and they grew over the 4 years to believe it and to know that not only can they take any math class in college, but they could really do anything that they set their mind to, and that they believed that they could do, and that there were people that believed in them. And so it goes beyond actually the math classroom.
Well, we have more students of color in AP and honors and just taking calculus as seniors than we've ever had before. For me, one of the biggest things is, like, I know there are some students who, because they were comfortable with me and because they were comfortable with the other students in their class, because they were part of that cohort, they contributed in class, they felt okay about making mistakes, they did what they would come after school for help. They felt fine asking for the support they needed in order to do well. And so they worked really hard, and relationships matter. And it made a big difference, I think. I'm thinking of one student in particular, but I'm sure it made a big difference for other students as well. I also think that grouping the students together was a very powerful element of the project. The other thing, I was able to get to know the students well over the course of both the after-school program and the summer program, so I had them when they were seniors, and they were really comfortable with me by that point. And that, I think, helped them be successful as seniors in calculus.
So get involved. I mean, the grouping, I think, makes the biggest difference. I love to teach freshmen, and I've taught for many years. And when you have a cohort of students of color in an honors or advanced class, it makes all the difference. So if you have, 10 sections of an honors geometry class, and there's one student of color in each section, that student can feel isolated. That student feels like they're the only one in the class, that they're speaking for all students of color. Every time they speak, they're afraid to make mistakes. But when you group the students together, there's a support system there that goes a long way. And I think that that's something for the administration of the schools to get involved with, to make sure that students of color are grouped together so they have that support of each other as they're going through these more difficult classes, because they need to be challenged and they need to be together to support each other in order to really close the achievement gap.
The main advice I have is that you can't do it by yourself. You really need to build, find a team of people who are willing to work together with you to make the changes. You need administrative support. There's no way you can do it without that. I mean, you can make small changes, but you can't make systemic, big changes in the achievement gap in the number of kids going into upper level classes. You can't make without administrative help. You have to have administrators committed to placing kids in higher level classes, and administrators kind of not exactly pushing teachers, but encouraging teachers to recommend kids for higher level classes and reminding teachers that these kids have extra support so that they can do it. It really is a team effort.
I love those parents. The best teaching happens when you have that whole team behind you, when it's not just you and the student, but it's you, the student, the administrators on board, and the parents are on board also. So the great, relationship that I have with the parents of my former students, and still have, is wonderful, because, you do so much in the classroom for 1 hour a day, and then they leave you and they go home, and you need to have that parent support there and that communication. So, the parents who are in the Calculus Project are super invested, involved, and supportive of you as their teacher, and also of their children. And so, anytime I had any issue with, kids fooling around in class, any kind of discipline issue, students not doing their homework, one email, one phone call home, and that was nipped in the bud. So it's great to know you're not working alone, you're working with a team.
The parents are fantastic. I had one student who made some bad choices as a senior in calculus, and his mom was just supportive all the way through and found me at the closing ceremony and said thank you. And it wasn't easy. I really liked the kid, and I really wished he hadn't made the decisions that he made, or even made the choices that he made, but he learned from it. It wasn't the end of the world. In a way, it was a safe place for him to do it, and his parents were supportive all the way. And having that relationship with parents, when students know that you have that kind of relationship with parents, and especially for younger students almost, they don't try and get away with as much. When they know you're tight with their parents, they give you an easier time of it. They don't act up as much. It's really easy to say, do I need to call your mom? And they're like, oh, no. And they just settle right down. So it really helps in holding students to higher standards, I'd say.